Television hosts are usually the most recognizable faces in the media, synonymous with charisma, credibility, and prestige. However, life in the spotlight is not always synonymous with stability. Over the years, several high-profile names have been brought down by scandals, controversial remarks, or off-camera behavior that simply could not be ignored by their networks. And that is exactly what we will see here today. American television host Megyn Kelly sparked controversy in October of 2018 when, during her morning show, she questioned why the use of blackface, that is, a white person painting their face black as a Halloween costume, would be considered racist. At one point, Kelly stated that when she was a child, it was allowed as long as you were dressed as a character. She also defended a celebrity who had painted herself black to portray Diana Ross, a black artist. Her comments provoked immediate outrage, especially because for many, her remarks ignored the historical legacy of blackface as a tool of humiliation and reinforcement of offensive stereotypes originating in 19th and early 20th century United States minstrel shows. That same afternoon, Kelly sent an internal email apologizing to colleagues, stating that she had reconsidered her views after hearing other perspectives. However, still in October of 2018, the National Broadcasting Company announced the cancellation of her show, and the remaining episodes that week were replaced with reruns. Negotiations over Kelly's formal exit from the network took place soon after. Roger Ailes, founder and former chairman of Fox News, was at the center of one of the biggest harassment scandals in the North American media industry. In July of 2016, Gretchen Carlson, former Fox News anchor, filed a lawsuit accusing Ailes of harassment. After this allegation, other women also came forward with similar experiences, totaling more than 20 public accusations against Ailes. Internal investigations and public pressure led to Ailes' resignation as chairman of Fox News in July of 2016. The case exposed a culture of harassment and discrimination within the network, prompting a reevaluation of corporate practices and internal policies. This scandal served as the basis for the film entitled Bombshell, released in 2019, which recounts this very story.
Stay on 24 hours a day. You need something to hold an audience.
We need you in a shorter dress.
The feature film depicts the events that culminated in Ailes' downfall, focusing on the experiences of the women who accused him. Bombshell received critical acclaim, particularly for the performances of its lead cast, and was nominated for numerous awards, including an Academy Award. The exposure of these cases and the subsequent film production contributed to the debate on workplace harassment, reinforcing the importance of corporate policies that protect employees and promote a safe and respectful environment. In 2015, journalist and anchor Juan Williams of National Broadcasting Company News was suspended without pay for 6 months after admitting he had recounted a false story about being in a helicopter that came under fire during the Iraq War in 2003. In January of 2015, Williams stated on the NBC nightly news broadcast that he had been in a helicopter struck by a rocket-propelled grenade in Iraq. Soon after, mission veterans, including flight engineer Lance Reynolds, refuted the account on social media, saying Williams was not in that specific helicopter, but rather on a different flight that arrived at the site about an hour later and was not hit. On the broadcast of February 4th of 2015, Williams issued a live apology, saying he had made a memory error. NBC launched an internal investigation, led by the network's investigative division, which uncovered multiple incorrect statements by Williams over the years, including on nightly programs and public appearances. In February of 2015, NBC News president Deborah Turnus announced the 6-month suspension without pay, deeming Williams' actions serious and harmful to public trust. After the suspension, Juan Williams was demoted to news anchor for breaking news, continuing his journalism career in a less prominent role. The American Broadcasting Company canceled the series. Roseanne in May of 2018, after its star, Roseanne Barr, posted a widely condemned racist comment on her social media account. In May of 2018, Barr wrote a message considered racist, referring to Valerie Jarrett, former advisor to President Barack Obama. The message was immediately seen as racist and Islamophobic, comparing Jarrett to a monkey and implying ties to the Muslim Brotherhood. ABC's entertainment president stated that the only possible response was to cancel the show. The series had been renewed weeks earlier but was abruptly canceled that same day. Young actress Emma Kenney, who played Roseanne's granddaughter in the series, expressed being hurt and disappointed by Barr's words. Additionally, co-creator and showrunner Bruce Helford said he was personally horrified and saddened by the incident. Brazilian TV Globo anchor William Wack was accused of racism after a video leak on social media caused significant negative backlash around his name. The clip appears to have been recorded minutes before the Jornal de Globo went on air during a live shot in front of the White House, United States.
What do you call it? Pig sick in?
In the background, a horn can be heard honking. William then turns and asks why the person is honking, turning to his guest, Paulo Sotero, and saying that it could only be a black person's thing. The guest laughs along with the reporter, and the scene ends. The footage somehow leaked and, of course, went viral online, since William Wack had been extremely racist. As a consequence, Globo fired the reporter, who was highly respected within the company but had no other choice. Shortly after the incident, the media heavily pressured Globo for a response and action regarding the reporter, which took some time to materialize. Whenever asked, he would say that Globo would respond, and Globo, when approached, would end up saying nothing. Sometime later, Wack tried to justify himself in interviews, saying it was just an internal joke and that he did not intend to offend anyone. But clearly, that is not a plausible excuse for most people. Piers Morgan left Good Morning Britain on March 9th of 2021 after a huge controversy sparked by his comments about reporter Meghan Markle during discussions about her interview with Oprah Winfrey. In March of 2021, after Meghan and Harry's interview with Oprah aired, Morgan declared he did not believe a word Meghan said. He also called her Pinocchio Princess. His remarks triggered a cancellation wave that led to an investigation for possible breach of harm and defense rules. The next morning, his co-host Alex Beresford voiced strong disapproval, criticizing Morgan for continually belittling Meghan, which prompted Morgan to leave the studio live on air. Later, independent television announced that after talks between Morgan and the network, he decided to depart the show, a decision the company accepted. His extremely skeptical comments about Meghan Markle, especially regarding her mental health, generated massive negative fallout, significantly damaging his career. Juan Williams, senior analyst at National Public Radio, had his contract abruptly terminated in October of 2010. On October 18th of 2010, during an appearance on a Fox News program, Williams stated he was not intolerant, but that if he boarded a plane and saw someone wearing Muslim garb, he would be worried. NPR justified that his words were inconsistent with the network's editorial and practical standards, undermining his credibility as a news analyst, and due to this mismatch, he was let go. Interestingly, the episode was not isolated. Williams had been previously warned for expressing opinions in public. Keith Oberman, liberal commentator and controversial host of a Microsoft NBC program, had his contract abruptly terminated by NBC, the parent company of Microsoft NBC. On the night of January 21st of 2011, Oberman announced on air that it would be his last show. Simultaneously, Microsoft NBC announced that the contract had been terminated. He still had 2 years left on a 4-year deal worth around $30 million United States dollars. NBC and Oberman gave no clear explanations, but it appears it was due to a deteriorating relationship. In statements, he said that often, especially in the last 2.5 years before the termination, everything around the show became too much for me, indicating a certain burnout. Chris Cuomo, former anchor at Cable News Network, was fired by the network in December of 2021 due to his involvement in defending his brother, then New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, who faced multiple harassment allegations. In November of 2021, CNN announced Chris Cuomo's indefinite suspension after the New York Attorney General's office released documents revealing his direct involvement in advising his brother's team during the sexual harassment scandal, including communications with media sources and Andrew Cuomo's staff. CNN then hired a law firm to review the case and, on December 4th of 2021, fired Chris Cuomo for cause, citing new information uncovered during the investigation that violated the network's journalistic ethics standards. Chris Cuomo was accused of directly advising his brother's team on handling the sexual harassment allegations, providing strategic information, and acting as an informal counselor to the ex-governor. Billy Bush, then a host of the entertainment program Access Hollywood and third-hour co-anchor of the Today Show on NBC, was dismissed in October of 2016 after the release of a 2005 recording in which he laughed and encouraged Donald Trump's sexually explicit remarks about women. In October of 2016, a U.S. newspaper published an audio tape of Trump saying he could kiss and grab women because he was famous, with Bush laughing and making supportive comments. After his approving reaction, a massive controversy erupted, and after about a week, NBC suspended Bush, announcing his dismissal the next morning via an internal memo. Trump apologized for the remarks, calling them inappropriate, a response Bush rejected in later interviews, where he apologized and said he realized too late the severity of the incident.
Just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. You just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the
Bush's dismissal reflects NBC's zero-tolerance policy for conduct that could compromise its image, especially on high-rating programs with strong female viewership. Charlie Rose, renowned host on CBS, Columbia Broadcasting System, and PBS, Public Broadcasting Service, was fired in November of 2017 after serious harassment allegations surfaced against him. In November of 2017, a major U.S. newspaper published accounts from 8 women accusing Charlie Rose of inappropriate conduct between the late 1990s and 2011, including obscene calls and walking naked in front of staff or job candidates. The morning after the publication, both CBS and PBS announced Rose's immediate suspension from his shows. A few hours later, CBS announced his firing with immediate effect, declaring his behavior extremely disturbing and intolerable, and emphasizing that workplace safety and professionalism were top priorities. Likewise, PBS severed ties with Rose and canceled his talk show distribution. Charlie Rose apologized after the story broke, saying he was ashamed of his behavior and acknowledging insensitivity, though he contested some allegations. In 2017, during the Trofeo Imprensa ceremony, Silvio Santos, owner of the Brazilian channel SBT, Sistema Brasileiro de Televisão, publicly reprimanded journalist Rachel Scheherazade. At that moment, while presenting her with the award, Silvio stated she had not been hired to express political opinions but only to read the news, with a strong remark, and adding that if she wanted to engage in politics, she should buy a television station and do it herself. At the time, Rachel was embroiled in controversy for voicing political opinions during the news broadcast, which did not sit well with her boss. This public reprimand marked the start of a tense period between Scheherazade and the network. In September of 2020, after nearly a decade at SBT, Rachel was dismissed. She revealed that her termination came via email, without the opportunity to say goodbye to colleagues. Later, Rachel Scheherazade stated that her departure was influenced by external pressure. The controversy over her firing remains a topic to this day and resurfaced after Silvio Santos's death, when Rachel did not comment at any time. Jeremy Clarkson was effectively fired by the British Broadcasting Corporation in March of 2015, abruptly ending his role as Top Gear host. On March 4th of 2015, during filming, Clarkson got into a heated argument with producer Oisin Timon. He had been served cold food instead of the steak he requested and ended up verbally pressuring and physically assaulting Timon, who was hospitalized after the incident. The BBC suspended Clarkson on March 10th of 2015, taking Top Gear off the air while investigating the incident. On March 25th of 2015, BBC Director General Tony Hall confirmed he would not renew Clarkson's contract, ending his career at the network with immediate effect. The internal investigation described physical and verbal assault, including punches and prolonged abusive language directed at the producer, crossing all ethical and professional lines of the broadcaster. In September of 2021, Evaristo Costa revealed he discovered his dismissal by chance upon returning from vacation when he noticed his show, CNN Original Series, was no longer on the network's schedule while watching the program guide during a broadcast. He then contacted CNN Brazil and, by phone, was informed that the show had been removed from the lineup for strategic reasons and that the network no longer had interest in his services, confirming he was notified of the contract termination by phone. CNN Brazil justified the departure by stating they sought other professional models, including a return to Brazil, but the journalist did not accept these alternatives. Evaristo, on the other hand, said he felt disrespected, referring to the abrupt manner of his firing as being kicked out the back door, according to his own expression. Subsequently, Evaristo filed a lawsuit against CNN Brazil for moral and material damages, citing professional disrespect and seeking compensation estimated by columnists at around $53,792 United States dollars. Don't forget to subscribe so you can watch more videos like this.